Welcome everybody to Simplifying GTO Wizard, the series where we're going to break down game theory optimal poker into simple, actionable concepts for everyday players. If you've ever felt like solvers and GTO strategy are overwhelming, don't worry, you're not alone. So this series is all about making GTO easy to understand and actually useful at the tables. Now before we dive in, I have to give you a quick heads up. This first session is going to be a little bit dry, I guess. So, nobody signs up for a poker video hoping for a theory lecture, but trust me, this foundation is absolutely essential. So think of it like learning the rules before you start breaking them. I mean, GTO is a beast. It's complex, it's intimidating, and honestly, most people overcomplicate it. So my goal in this series is to simplify the process so that you can actually use GTO Wizard effectively without feeling like you need a PhD in poker theory. So today we're going to lay the groundwork, but I promise in future episodes it's going to get way more interesting. So over the next few videos we're going to get a hands-on with GTO Wizard. We're going to look at real hand reviews and uncover where the biggest mistakes happen, not just from our own play, but from the entire 25 NL player pool. So that's when things really become fun, because we're going to start learning how to actually exploit common leaks. So stick with me, please, through today's theory-heavy session, because once we get past this, it's all about practical application, making smart adjustments, and ultimately crushing the competition. So let's jump in. And today's session or episode is an introduction to strategy for beating 25 NL 6 max. And the goal is to build a solid, tight, aggressive foundation. But more importantly, we want to find exploitative adjustments that allow us to maximize our win rate against the player pool, specifically at 25 NL. So the first thing I want to talk about is why are we focusing on 25 NL. So 25 NL is where the regs start to improve, but they've still got major leaks. So 25 NL, the players they're better than microstakes, but they still make consistent mistakes, which we can take advantage of. So many players have studied the basics of GTO, but they don't apply it properly, and they still have major leaks in their post-flop play. Now the game is a little bit more aggressive than at microstakes, but the players overfold in key spots, so that's what we're going to nail. So unlike lower stakes, 25 NL is more 3-betting and aggression, but that doesn't mean players are balanced. Most players still fold too much double barrels and river aggression, and that gives us profitable bluffing opportunities. And finally, pre-flop fundamentals and post-flop adjustments are key to crushing this pool. So a solid pre-flop strategy prevents us from getting into bad spots. So that's what we're going to concentrate on first. But the real edge comes from post-flop adjustments. So we need to recognize where the field misplays and adjust our strategy accordingly. And that's what we're going to concentrate on in the upcoming episodes. And the next question you want to ask yourself is why we want to use GTO Wizard. Well, firstly, GTO Wizard can help us find and fix leaks in your pre-flop and your post-flop game. So it helps us identify your own mistakes and comparing our plays to optimal solutions. And I guess by reviewing those hands, we can pinpoint areas where we're going to lose EV and refine our game. You can compare your plays to GTO solutions and spot mistakes. I mean, it's one thing to guess whether we played a hand correctly, but with GTO Wizard, we get concrete answers. We can see if our decision was profitable and adjust accordingly. And lastly, it helps us identify population tendencies and how players deviate from GTO. So it's one of the biggest benefits of GTO Wizard. It doesn't allow us just show us GTO solution. It also provides population data, which allows us to see how the 25 NL player pool actually plays, which helps us find exploitable patterns. So I'll be talking a lot about that, exploitable patterns. Okay, so GTO versus exploitative. So when should we deviate? Now, GTO is the foundation, but strict GTO won't maximize profits, okay? Especially at this 25NL level where players make a lot of mistakes. So GTO gives us an unexploitable strategy for sure, but it's not always the most profitable approach. Against weaker players, we can increase our win rate by adjusting to their mistakes instead of playing a balanced game. And most 25NL players overfold to aggression. So with that in mind, we should bluff more. So most players at 25NL hate facing aggression. They fold too much to turn barrels and river bets. So we should look for these spots, and we're going to look for these spots in upcoming videos. And as a consequence of that, we should bluff more frequently than GTO actually suggests. So we will deviate from GTO, but it has to lay the groundwork. And finally, using data from GTO Wizard to find where the population misplays. So by studying GTO Wizard's pool reports, we'll have a look at those later, we can see exactly where players make mistakes. For example, if most players overfold to river overbets, well, guess what? We can increase our bluffing frequency and maximize our edge when we get to those spots. Okay, now I want to talk about a step-by-step hand analysis using GTO Wizard and how we're going to go about that. So we're going to filter for big losses. We're going to go through a lot of hands, and then I'm going to play hands, and we're going to see where we lost greater than 20 big blinds, or even maybe a bit bigger. So the best way to start a session review is by looking at our biggest losing hands. So these spots often contain the best lessons, the most valuable lessons, showing whether we made a mistake or just got unlucky. And we're also going to identify mistakes. We're going to find spots where we deviated from GTO. So after we identify these key hands, we're going to use GTO Wizard to see if our play was correct. So this helps us spot trends in our mistakes so we can make adjustments. If you're doing the same mistake over and over again, easy to fix. This is something I talked about previously, population data. So we're going to compare population data, and just because GTO says a player is optimal doesn't mean it's the most profitable at 25NL. So we compare our hands with the population data to see if the pool overfolds or misplays in certain spots. And then finally, we're going to adjust for the next session. So, which means taking notes, applying new exploits. The poker is all about learning and adjusting. So once we find exploitable leaks in the pool, we take notes and implement these adjustments in our next session. So we're going to take lots of notes, color code players, and play accordingly. So the next thing I want to talk about is population leaks at 25NL. Now, players fold too much to double barrels. For most players at 25NL, they call too often on the flop, but they overfold on the turn. And how we take advantage of that is by barreling more frequently when the turn card is good for our range. The other thing is players don't bluff rivers enough as well. So the 25NL river bluffs are underused, and many players only bet big on the river when they have a strong hand. Which consequently that means that we should be more willing to fold to big river bets, unless of course we have a very big hand. And finally, players fold too much when facing 3 bets from the blinds. A lot of players at 25NL fold too much when facing 3 bets from the blinds, and what that means is we can 3 bet more aggressively against the players, or those players, the ones that are tight. Okay, so we've gone over the fundamentals. So let's summarize what we've gone over and the next steps, what we're going to be doing in the next videos. Firstly, we need to follow a solid pre-flop and post-flop strategy, and of course with exploitative adjustments. Okay, so we're going to stick to a strong pre-flop strategy, of course, but we're going to make exploitative adjustments, mainly post-flop. That's the key to beating 25NL, making exploitative adjustments post-flop. And we're also going to use GTO Wizard to review post-session. So consistent session reviews with GTO Wizard help us find our mistakes, correct them, and improve our long-term win rate. We're going to focus on where the pool overfolds, and the biggest edge, that's where the biggest edges comes from, and from exploiting pool tendencies. So if the field overfolds in certain spots, we should bluff more. And if they underbluff rivers, we should fold more. And finally, then we apply those new adjustments based on our session review. So the key to improvement, we want to continuously improve, is to continuously learn. So each session should give us new insights, which we then apply to the next session to stay ahead of the competition. As I said, I know that today's lesson was a bit theory, a lot of theory, okay, and probably not, well, pretty sure it wasn't exciting. We covered a lot of the fundamental strategy, and while it might feel a little dry, as I said before, understanding these concepts is crucial for long-term success at 25NL and up. Now, in the next session, the good news is that we're going to get away from theory. We're going to get into some real hands and real data. So we're going to explore all the awesome tools that GTO Wizard provides us. Too many to mention, but hand analysis, solver outputs, population data, leak detection, and that's when things start to get really exciting. And we're going to see how to put all of this theory that we went over into action. And also in later sessions, we're going to break down real hands, as I said before. We're going to go step by step through hand reviews. We're going to analyze mistakes, and we're going to see exactly where we can adjust our strategy to exploit the 25NL player pool. So if today felt a little bit abstract, don't worry. Next time we're going to get into the real nitty-gritty of decision making using GTO Wizard. All right, that's it. So if you got this far, thanks for sticking with me through this theory-heavy session. Next time, as I said, we're going to make things more interactive, hands-on, and I look forward to diving into GTO Wizard's tools and showing you how to supercharge your game. See you then.